Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
We all need motivation to move life forward, maybe looking forward to things, and those little things in life keep us going. What are you looking forward to? What is bringing you happiness, the joy in your life? Everybody I feel has a different answer. Some of them may be the same, but then when you start thinking of it, then you kind of start drilling down. And that's what we're going to do today and take a look at that and find your joy. He's an inspirational speaker, educator, life coach, success consultant. He's back with us. Dr. Bary Fleet is on the program. Welcome, Bary. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Steve. How about you?
Very well, very well. I can tell you this, T minus less than 23 days.
What's that mean?
My vacation. And
Oh,
it's basically
okay.
3-4
Okay.
days. But that is, what I'm currently looking at in bringing me joy. Long time coming.
Okay.
It wasn't easy to set all the logistics up, but that's on my radar. So I'm just, and I maybe a lot of people would say, yeah, I'm waiting for that, maybe going on vacation, things like that, just a getaway, just a getaway. How about you? What brings you joy?
Well, it's interesting you ask. I was talking with a men's group last week and asking people to share and to be aware of when we feel alive, when we feel joy. And it's great. My wife and I just got back from a mini vacation, so I can appreciate what
Sure.
that's like. And it's great to have something to look forward to. But in the day, what brings you joy? When do you feel alive in the day? And what I invited the men to do is just try to be conscious of that. As you're going through the day, what were the times you felt alive? And if you didn't, what was blocking you from feeling alive? And when I started paying attention, I mentioned about going away. We happened to go to Charleston, South Carolina, and visited the tea plantation. And I didn't realize there was an active tea plantation in South Carolina. But I was there on the grounds, and I became aware of the live oaks and the Spanish moss and the bright blue sky, and there was just kind of an exotic feel to that moment. And I realized it's just because I stopped and let that in. I just stopped for a minute and absorbed, connected with my surroundings, connected with my environment. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of us fail to do. We're so busy going places. I know for me, when I'm traveling, I don't like to take the side roads. I want to get on the highway, the interstate, and get where I'm going. And I think I cheat myself out of a lot.
I want to share with you because I kind of laugh at that. And I'm talking about 23 days for me getting away last year, the exact same weekend, Memorial Day weekend. I did a getaway. It was a road trip with just a bunch of people I had recently met, like maybe a year before, if that. We all got together, guys, girls, whatever, had a great time. And I was with my friend Chris, and there's a carload of other people. And we didn't take the highway. We found that if we took the back farm roads that allowed you to go, 55 miles an hour or so, we might even get there faster. So we did. And that was some of the best part of the trip, just to your point. And I vividly remember it, seeing a cow, seeing, a barn, seeing trees and everything. We cranked up music. We were laughing. We were driving along. And as we're driving, we're looking down on the freeway. I'm like, look at all those people stuck in traffic. And we got there. We got there about an hour before everybody else did.
Wow.
Yeah. So not only do we save time, but we also got a chance to, take in the scenery, feel a little more grounded in all of that. So yeah, sometimes there's, if you pivot that way, it's impactful. And same thing as you're saying, to take it all in, like when you went to South Carolina.
Yeah, and you get there more relaxed.
Yeah.
There's something much more relaxing about those back roads and the country drives.
Sure.
Than being on the interstate and trucks passing you and you passing trucks and all of this stuff that's going on.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. Do you find, you personally, or do other people tell you that you need something to look forward to. There's always something you need to look forward to really kind of move you along, during your day.
It's interesting you asked that because I absolutely do. And part of the routine that my wife and I have every morning when we're having our coffee is, so what do you have to look forward to today?
Mm,
Or what could you look forward to today?
wow. Yeah.
Because sometimes, we see the day in front of us and it feels a little overwhelming or a little boring or a little taxing or whatever. But we found to ask that question. So in the midst of all of that,
Mm.
what can you look forward to, or what are you looking forward to? So for me, part of it today was talking to you this afternoon.
Oh, well, hey. And same with you. As soon as I remembered that, oh, today's the day that we talk, I'm like, oh, he's so easy to talk to and has so much insight. Yeah, for sure. And isn't it interesting that your day could be like, I'm just doing my day. And you think of that one little thing. Like a couple of days ago, I was thinking of, I'm going home. I'm going to cook a steak. I haven't cooked one in a long time, just for me. Wow, I'm looking forward to that. It's just
Yeah,
the littlest thing. It's like all of a sudden, day was good, but it was like, bing, little like uptick in the day.
but there's the conscious piece of what could I look forward to today? And you start going through it. Pick up a nice steak and go home and put it on the grill, and
Yeah,
there's that moment.
I think it goes back to when we say it's those little things that are the big things. I know it's such a cliche, but
Right.
I was never like that. I was never mindful of those little things. But when you start looking at them, they do become bigger things. But it's how do you shift your mindset to get into that mode where you do look at life that way?
I, I think you set an intention.
Okay.
Just like I said, my wife and I, part of our routine is
Hmm.
asking ourselves that question, raising the consciousness. And we remind each other. Sometimes I forget, sometimes she forgets, but we remind each other. And when I set an intention to look for those moments, um, or to look for moments where the potential is there,
Okay. Yeah.
because so here's the thing, um, we see what we're looking for. You've had the experience of you buy a new car, and all of a sudden you realize every other person you see is driving the same kind of car you just bought
Oh, okay. Because you're looking for it.
because you're conscious of it.
Right. Right.
Um, but when we decide to look for something, we're much more likely to see it. And sometimes I play a game with myself of making something up. What's an odd thing that I could look for today? Um, I remember last November we were up in New Hampshire, and I thought I want to look for a butterfly. It's kind of a odd kind of thing. And we were driving around and went into a gift store, and I looked, and there was a scarf with beautiful butterflies. Um, and it's just kind of a fun game to play of being conscious and looking for things that will bring joy, that will bring a smile.
Interesting.
But we have to decide that that's important to us. And I also like the idea of just playing a game with it. Um, and it's a game that I'm just going to play it, and I either will or I won't. I'm not going to win or lose, and I'm not in competition with anybody. But it connects me to life in a way that I'm not otherwise connected. It gets me out of the routine of just doing the next thing to the next thing to the next thing.
Kind of breaks kind of breaks the day up. That's what I'm getting.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does. It
Oh,
does.
I heard this. When you talk about looking for things, I'm just going to plant this seed because I heard this a long time ago, and now I'm remembering it back again. But they say you always, every day, you will see at least one cow or representation of a cow, maybe cow spots. I've heard that. Take that with a grain of salt. See if that's actually true. Be mindful of it. Again, just kind of play a game there and see if that takes place. I just thought of another thought of things that bring you joy. I love seeing live music. And
Hmm.
I don't even realize it until I'm doing it, right now that we're talking about it. And I was at a comedy venue on Saturday night and saw a comedian who plays, and it was very funny. And then Sunday night, it was a fundraiser, and a lot of tribute bands were there. And I didn't realize it until we are talking about it that I truly enjoy that. If I'm there with the right people. I won't just show up on myself. I'll bring a bunch of people. We'll all get together, whatever it is,
Yep.
and we're all kind of feeling it. Just enjoying it. But that's another thing for me. Like I'll look forward to it. I got a venue near me, outdoor venue. So now things are starting to kick.
Okay. Yep. Yep.
It's like, I was just texting friends, hey, May 13th, blah, 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 there's going to be a show there. Come on down. We pregame at my place, and I'm
Okay.
literally a minute and a half walk. So then
Okay. Oh, nice. Nice.
yeah, and side note, I work in radio. It's connected to the venue. Get free tickets, so everybody gets in. We have a great time. But just being there, is almost like a different kind of positive vibe, that brings people together and brings them up.
It is, and I think the underlying theme in all of that has to do with being connected, because you're connected with other people.
Yeah.
You're connected with the venue. You're connected with the atmosphere. You're connected with the music. But I think when we feel connected, I think that's one of the. I don't know if you saw the Surgeon General just came out with an article a couple of days ago about the epidemic of loneliness.
No surprise, but yeah, wow.
And the remedy is connection, and that's, I believe that we're made for connection, and whether we're connected to nature, whether we're connected to people around us, whether we're connected to, like you say, to music, but that sense of feeling connected, I think, is essential to us feeling a sense of joy and meaning in life.
Thank you for that, because it is so true. And same thing with the music analogy, it is connecting people. And I never
Yes.
looked at it that way because everybody is enjoying it at the same time. And it's different from a movie because you got a whole theater full of people, but they're in their own zone, where with music, you're looking at people. I just feel that you're all picking up on the vibe that's coming from the people that are playing, the musicians, the singers.
And you can acknowledge it to the people that you're with.
Right.
There's a connection back and forth, like you say, that doesn't happen in the movie. And matter of fact, it's very discouraged in movies.
But then, yes, absolutely. And again, to your point, Bary, when somebody changes the song, song ends, somebody plays another song, and it's a great song. Everybody loves the song. You see, like, everything elevates. Like, oh yeah, that's can't believe they're playing that. Yeah, there is a major connection. And by my vantage point, I think more and more people now are into live music than in the longest time. Part of it because of COVID. We're
Yep.
all in.
Yep.
Now we crave it, but it's not just the music. It is what you're saying, the connection.
Right.
Wow, on the Surgeon General with that epidemic of loneliness. Wow, and who would ever think? Again, I'm not surprised, but yeah, interesting.
Yeah. But to think that that's um, getting close to the top of the list for health concerns, for folks in our country.
Isn't it somewhat ironic that you get that report out, but we have this thing that's called social media, and it's almost doing the complete opposite of isolating people because you're looking at others. Well, look at their life. They're everything. Wow, my life is horrible.
Yeah.
Or they're beautiful, and I'm just a regular person here. And then it's almost as if some people have social anxiety because of that. They just kind of, also there's an epidemic, mental health crisis for teenage girls right now. CDC came out with that a few weeks ago, and for the same reason, hate to say it, I believe social media, because they compare themselves and they become isolated and lonely. It all plays.
And here's the thing about that. As long as we're comparing ourselves to other people, it's a game that we cannot win.
Amen.
Because there's always going to be somebody, and except for one person, there's always going to be somebody that has more money than I do. There's always going to be somebody that's more attractive than I am. There's always going to be somebody that has more, that has this, that has that. And when that's the standard, we set ourselves up for misery. And when we can stop playing that game and start playing the game of what can I do to make today a better day than yesterday was?
Yeah.
What can I do to find joy in today? Now it's not about comparison anymore. I mean, if there is a comparison, it's comparing with myself. But rather than comparing anything, it's how can I connect to life today?
Yeah.
What can I experience that will be fun? What can I experience that would bring joy to me? And like I say, whether it's being connected to nature and going for a walk, or I know you love Starbucks and you go and you get a cup of coffee, and there's just that moment of the cup of coffee and the aroma and the feel of the cup in your hand and the taste of the coffee, and it's that moment.
Yeah, I look forward to it before I come in here. It's, and I pivoted and went to 7-Eleven convenience store. I don't know if, you have them down there or whatever.
Yep.
They didn't have decaf. So, that I usually don't drink it. So they wasn't delivered. So I had caffeinated and wasn't the same experience, kind of jacked me up. Didn't want to be there. But all of this is so, it's interesting with the judgment thing. When you look at social media, some people will look at a feed and they'll have negativity. Look at her doing that again. Yeah. Or somebody's on vacation again. On to the next. Blah, blah, blah. Instead of looking at it that way, flip it around. Stop yourself when you do that and wish them well. Put out a positive vibe. Yeah, good for them. They're on vacation. Good for good for them. They just got a new car. Oh, God bless you. Good luck with that. Change it. And in a while, you start changing your viewpoint of things. And I believe, that positive things come your way if you wish it on other people.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But I think the prior question is, what am I doing on social media in the first place?
Well, okay. Right.
Well,
Yeah.
why am I there? And I can't speak for other people, but I know for me, I just get sucked in, and I'm scrolling to the next one and the next one and the next one, and sometimes I'll find something that makes me laugh or is interesting, but it so this is totally my bias. I believe it distracts me from living my life.
Mm,
It turns me into a spectator instead of a participant.
very true. Very,
Um, and I think that's part of the loneliness is that a lot of us are living lives as spectators instead of participants.
yeah. Yeah. Isn't it just so sad that it was supposed to bring us together?
Yes.
Well, technically, it was invented for advertising. It's,
Yes.
hate to break it to everybody, but there's a reason. It's for advertising. Mark Zuckerberg, he didn't do it because he loves everybody. It's
Right.
the money. And that's also, not to get technical, side note, when you have a post that compels a lot of people, a lot of likes, a lot of comments, the next time you post about a pen, you get a lot. They open up the throttle because, it's more content from, whoever, because good content gives more people engagement, which gives the chance for them to make more money.
Right.
It all works.
Right. But my whole thing is about helping people move from being um, observers to participants.
Yeah. And yeah, the answer is easy, throttle back on your social media. And I'm not beating up on it. There's wonderful ways of connection. I've connected with people from high school and all of that, and we stay together,
Right.
talk. Matter of fact, a principal from my high school passed away recently, and showing our condolences. Probably would have never have known
Right.
this great man has left us because of social media.
Right.
Some
And
good.
and there certainly is a positive side to it. Like you say, being connected to I've reconnected with family members that I hadn't seen in decades.
Mm.
High school classmates. It's kind of funny. For years I dragged my high school annuals with me everywhere, every move I took. There's that box of high school and college yearbooks. And about probably 8 or 10 years ago, I said to my kids, I said, here are my yearbooks. I haven't opened them in years. I'm tired of moving them around. Look through them if you want to. And then when you're done, don't feel guilty about throwing them away, which they did. And then Facebook comes out, and now all of a sudden I'm connected to all of these people. And I used to have their pictures in the yearbooks. And
How funny is that? Or you bring up another point in my mind where everybody's taking pictures, and research shows continually that you will remember more just by focusing on the experience instead of you think you're doing the right thing by taking a photo, but it's almost as if you're minimizing the event or the experience from taking the picture.
absolutely, absolutely. I just had that experience over the weekend. I did a Spartan race in New Jersey, and it was one of the most challenging courses I've ever been on. There was more mud, it was rockier, it was
Oh my
steeper.
gosh, wait a minute. This past weekend?
Yes, yes,
Well, you're not far from New York where I am. That was the rainiest weekend in forever.
yes, yes. Um, and I made a decision to not. I had my cell phone with me, but I made a decision to not take pictures, to just be in the midst of doing all of that. Um, the other side of that is I was really glad that there were people who did take pictures,
Right.
but that's what they were there to do, and I was there to experience the race. Um, and and you're right. I think that when we stop and take the picture, we're missing something else.
Yes. Yeah.
We're missing the big picture. Uh,
100%. And it's funny. Lately, I've been saying to myself, take more pictures. You don't take any, take more pictures. So then I take some of an event, friends, we'll take a whole bunch. And I look at them like, yeah, all right. I'm not as excited when I look back at them. I don't know.
yeah,
I can't explain it. And I just had this conversation 9 o'clock last night with somebody. Um, been doing radio since I was 17. I interview a lot. I'm not bragging. I'm just illustrating.
yeah,
Interview, throw them on a list here. I even have pictures on the wall, not of me, just of, people. I've got autographs, whatever, Justin Timberlake, just Bieber, go back Madonna, all of them, all the interviews, everything I've ever done. I don't have any pictures. I don't have any pictures. I don't even know if I have the audio. I have
wow,
I have it up here.
yeah,
The only picture I have is I interviewed Sting, and it was a bucket list. And we'll never forget it. I have one picture, not even a good one, and that's it. And I'm okay with that. People say, "Well, yeah, you sure you talk to them?" Well, choose the way whatever you want to believe, but it's up here, and I remember.
right,
So,
right, and that's where the joy is. It's in the memory.
in the memory.
It's in the memory.
Yeah, it really
Uh,
is. Wow.
and that's where that, like I said, that's where the joy is. And sometimes for me, sometimes I will look back at a picture and it will bring back memories of all the events and the feelings around when that photograph was taken.
Yep.
Um, but I miss. I know that electronic media is much more efficient, but I really miss the days of scrap albums, of photo books, because we don't sit down and open a book and look through pictures and remember when. We've got them on our phone, but we don't go back and flip through and look at those.
No.
I guess I'm acknowledging my age, and I'm much more of a tactile kind of guy, and like touching things, like
No, but I
really.
got you. And you're bringing back memories. Even the scrapbooks where you put the pictures in, and you had that plastic sheet that would go over it, over the photos,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
But to fully illustrate your point is that each picture was a gem when you would put them in the book, and
right,
you would go back to them a couple of years later. Remember that, and you didn't have a ton of pictures. You had a fair.
right,
Now,
right,
phone, start scrolling, bazillion pictures.
right,
Okay, they're on the, there's, what? It's overload because there's so many. And back then it was film. So it was costly. You had to make
Yeah.
the picture count. Now you have one picture of a group of people. I'm sorry, you have 10 pictures of a group of people, and they all kind of look the same, and you never have time to delete all of them. So now add that to the rest, and it's like thousands of pictures on your phone, up to the cloud, all of it. It's just overload.
It is.
And it takes away the memory from all of it too.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I didn't think about any of this stuff until you brought it up. That's really one of your amazing points, where you get into our heads and bring up these things that maybe don't fully support us the way we think it does, and there may be things in your life that aren't supporting you, and that's where you come in as a life coach, helping people find their magnificent. So we find you on your website, and I always got to remember it's with one R, Bary, right? Bary,
Right.
FLEET.com, BaryFleet.com.
Bary with one R, drbaryfleet.com.
Gotcha. Yeah. And you're there to help people find their joy and move life forward. And I got to say, if you're not experiencing joy in your life, whatever it might be, something little, something big, something is missing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm passionate about helping folks find that missing piece so that they can feel alive instead of like the Walking Dead.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I call it the treadmill mill of life. You're just like I robotically moving along. It shouldn't be that way. Not that
Right.
life has to be full of crazy changes, but there should be little points, that make you happy. Bary, thank you so much for today, and congratulations on that race over the weekend. I much respect.
Thank you. It's fun. It's one of the ways that I like to challenge myself, to push myself, and that's part of what makes me feel alive, is when I'm pushing myself, trying to find my limits.
Yeah, and talk about a challenge, because it was cold this weekend. We're not talking July rain. It was more like March rain over the weekend in that area. So congrats on that. And
Yeah.
thank you so much for being here today. Really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. This has been delightful.
Absolutely. All right, Bary, we'll talk soon.
Okay, take care.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.